Welcome to the Hypnolady Show. I'm Maureen Pisani, your host, and here we will discuss all sorts of topics regarding life, its problems, complementary modalities that help, and what to do to empower yourself on a daily basis. We will discuss all kinds of modalities and how and why they give you results and what you can do to have a better today every day. As we go through episode by episode, I will be discussing all kinds of topics, but remember, I will never highlight a problem without offering you a solution. So make sure you listen all the way. Fair? Ready? Good. Let's go. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Hypnolady Show. I am Maureen Pisani, your host. And today we are going to talk about something that affects us all. Extroverts versus introverts. Introverts versus extroverts. Why are we the way we are? Why do we function the way we do? How come some of us are extroverts and somehow some of us are introverts? You want to find out? Good, because that's what we're going to talk about today. So, when you think about it, we're all born, right? Blobs. And we grow up. And somehow, some of us become the life of the party, and some of us, if we could, we'd hide between the paint on the wall. I know the feeling. And I know right now you're going, yeah, right, you know the feeling, because technically I don't come across as an introvert, but so what I'm going to explain today is broad strokes. I'm going to talk about both extremes. And all of us fall, by the way, in the middle. So I'm going to talk about solid black and brilliant white, and you, me, and everybody else is some shade of gray. But if I explain to you the extremes, then you can understand how we function. So we learn language patterns from our primary parent, and we learn personality from our secondary parent. Usually mom's primary, dad's secondary. But in today's configurations, I'm giving them primary and secondary, not because of importance, just the amount of interaction. So if dad is a stay-home dad, then he becomes a primary parent. Fair? If mom is the breadwinner, she becomes the secondary parent because she shows up every so often when dad is running the show 90% of the time. If dad is the breadwinner and mom's a stay-home mom, then you see how mom's the primary. And regardless of configuration, it could be two moms, two dads, it doesn't matter. It's always one is more interacting with the kid and the second one isn't as much. So the primary language patterns come from the parent that is interacting the most with the kid between 0 and 8, which some people call the imprint years. Fast forward into 12 to about 14, some people might start even as early as 10, we start picking up on traits. Now we've paid attention, we being the little babies, we've paid attention because something's going on here. So let's rewind the story. So let's say I'm born, tiny baby, 0 to 6 months, I'm basically a blob. There's nothing I can do. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just me. About 5 to 6 months, there's a recognition that mom is the lifeline. Remember, my very first cognitive moment of being a human entity, of being an entity that's alive, still in utero, was her heartbeat. So I have that as my homing signal. You remember E.T. call home? That's my E.T. call home moment. So as a 6-month-old, and I start recognizing that when she's holding me, I hear the heartbeat that makes me feel safe. But that when somebody else, whoever else is holding me, I don't hear the same sound. That's not safe. That's when I realize she's my lifeline. And I realize that if she doesn't feed me, I'm as good as done. So that's when babies become fussy because they recognize mom is technically the giver of life. So we grow up 9 months, a year and a half. And we know now, because now we're recognizing that when she walks in, hey, I'm in the room. You pay attention to me. Because if you don't, I die. It's as simple as that. That's how the baby's brains work. But then we start growing up older and older, and we start recognizing, wait a second. There are times when she walks in a room, she doesn't come to me. She goes to him. So What is he doing? Because what he's doing is working better than what I'm doing because she goes to him. So whatever he's doing is more impressive, more effective to draw her attention to him. So if I want her attention, then what should I do? I should learn from him. But you see how the pattern begins? So as I learn from him what he's doing, that's how personalities become and are learned from the secondary parent. But now we have the different ways, because I'll give you all the examples under the sun. If dad is, let's say dad is the financial advisor, and dad is working with a lot of stress. Dad is a researcher, dad is a scientist, dad is an accountant, dad is an IT guy. He walks in, he needs peace and quiet. He walks in, he goes into his room. He walks in, and we have to be quiet because daddy needs quiet. And then after a amount of time, when daddy comes out from his bedroom, then it's time to play because daddy's home, daddy's now better, now daddy's rested. And then daddy gives us a pat on the head. We all eat dinner, and dad needs to watch his news. And dad needs to do his research, and dad needs to do his reading. And dad's over there. And we observe that, and we learn. Dad's communication is a pat on the head. That's the attaboy, attagirl, good job. Few words, succinct. Everything's inside. Flip it. What if dad is a salesman? What if dad is VP of sales? What if dad is a presenter? What if dad is a motivational speaker? What if dad is in a human environment, chiropractor, physician? What if dad is into sports? He comes in, the entire neighborhood knows he's home. He loves his family. He comes in, he hugs us, he kisses us, he ruffles our hair, he holds us, he makes sure we feel the hug, he tells us how proud he is of us, he kisses us, he tells us, he looks us straight in the face and goes, I love you. And we learn that love is tactile, love is a hug, love is safe, to share emotions is good. And then that's what we learn. Now, as all this is happening, we're seeing everybody, right? And we're looking around and we're learning. Because dad is very comfortable with touch. So if dad's comfortable with touch, then I'm okay with touch because he said it was okay. If dad is the tap on the top of the head, then that's usually that's it, right? That's all that's given. So as we grow up, we then become photocopies. So if dad was the boisterous, loving, extroverted, gregarious hugger, that's what we become because we're safe, we're comfortable with it. If dad was the more withdrawn, then that's what we become. Now, how do we present? And what is actually going on? As we're growing up, remember, we attract opposites, right? So if dad is the researcher, the introvert, the 99.9% possibilities of mom's an extrovert. We're growing up. We talk about our first crush. We talk about how we like him or her. And then obviously life happens. So we're either we go through a breakup or we get dumped and we feel awful. And it's all fresh. We don't know what to do with this stuff. We're kids. We go home and we feel lousy. And then mom sees us and mom's the extrovert. And mom goes, oh, my baby, oh my goodness. And she hugs us and we're like, mom, no, please, because we're not used to it, right? Mom does her best to show us that affection is safe. But we haven't learned it from mom, we've learned it from dad. Dad has been a role model on personality. Then we attempt to talk to dad, or mom makes it even worse and she goes, honey, do you know that this happened today? And we're like, oh man, really? You have to go and blab. And dad goes from behind his papers, chin up, you'll be fine. They're lost. Get over it. Okay. So we learn, just put it down. Emotions, put it down. Don't bring up emotions. Emotions are uncomfortable. Emotions make us feel weird. So we don't. Now, as you do this, we're going to learn why we do this. Because introverts their biggest fear is loss of control. When we had that emotional situation that we didn't know how to handle, as kids, we learned we felt out of control and we did not like that. So, what's the best way to never be out of control? Is to be always in control. So, introverts have that need to be able to control. Flip it over. When we are raised with a gregarious extroverted dad who loves us and hugs us and tells us how much he loves us, what have we learned? We have learned acceptance. We have learned belonging. We have learned that being part of the family is the best thing that could have happened to us. So, what's our biggest fear? Rejection. So, when something happens to us, our biggest trigger is rejection. So, when we grow up all the way to adults, we are going to look at something. So, when we look into how we function as adults, there are underlying factors that create what we do. So, when somebody, let's say it's a party, post COVID, pre COVID, whatever you want to call it, at some point in the future, we'll have parties again. It's a party, it's a gathering, it's a launching of a business, it's an upgrade of a sister company, it's New Year's Eve, whatever you want to call it, it's the 4th of July. It's a grouping of people. And there are some who walk in and they're the life of the party. And they're hugging everyone and they're joking with everyone. And by the way, if they don't know people, that's even more fun for them because that means even more fun and more people to get to know, which means what? More people to get acceptance from. But then there are the others who are very politely holding their drink and in the corner and talking to maybe one, max two people and observing, making sure that nobody comes near them, because if somebody comes near them, they don't know if they're going to be able to talk to them. And it really is an uncomfortable situation, but they have to be here because their partner told them they had to. Rings a bell? So when it comes to how we function, the introverts are going to do their damnedest to stay in control at all times, everywhere. The extroverts are going to go and do everything they can because if there's 50 people in a room, they are really going to work the room to get 50 acceptances. And it could be a hug, it could be a smile, it could be a kiss on the cheek, it could be a nod, but at least it's acceptance. Why is this important? Because you are surrounded by just an amazing mix of these people. And whatever your scenario is, whether you're doing this for sales or whether it's your career or whether it's your regular life, you need to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. So extroverts have a tendency to be colorful, so they won't wear blacks or browns or blues or beiges. They'll have the fuchsias and the yellows and the oranges. They'll have usually long hair, intricate haircuts, makeup, nails, jewelry, brand designs. They'll do all this to show you because they need to draw attention, because this way they get more acceptance faster, which means they're successful in their world. Introverts are going to be wearing the beiges and the blues and the blacks and the grays, and they're going to be more subdued in their appearance, and they're going to be having much more practical haircuts and nails and less makeup, and they might have brand products and clothing, but they're going to choose it not for the attention, for the quality. As you go through your life, if you're attempting to have a conversation with somebody and you notice, now if you're an extrovert and you notice that you're talking to another extrovert, the conversation is going to flow because you're going to complement each other amazingly well. And you're going to find that the touch is soothing. You're going to find that they're open to a hug, which makes you super happy and makes them super happy. But what if you're the extrovert and you're talking to an introvert? And the introvert can barely look at you. And yes, I know, yeah, saying only one-word sentences, shudders at the thought of a hug and offers you their hand. And by the way, it's all the way over there because that's how far away they can push you. You're not feeling it, right? There's something off. But here's the thing. If you had to push for the hug, you'd be doing more damage than good. You'd be breaking rapport So if they're giving you the conversation, if they're listening to you, that's still acceptance. That's still them paying attention to you. They're a little bit out of their comfort zone, but they're still there. Let's flip it. If you're the introvert and you're talking to an extrovert, and the extrovert is doing her damnedest to touch you and is complimenting you and coming close and flipping your hair, and you're like, oh my God, she's touching me. And you're doing your best to finish the sentence so you can get the heck out of Dodge, but she keeps talking or he keeps talking, and he goes, yeah, oh, buddy, and just jamming you on the shoulder. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is how they communicate with you. Now, you're still in control because ultimately you can say, excuse me, and walk away. But this is something how you can work it in a way. By the way, if you want them to calm down, just touch them once. If there's a choice between a sleeve and skin, touch them on the skin. It'll calm them up faster. This skin to skin will give them so much acceptance, they'll be like, oh man, okay, this is good. If not, if it's wintertime and everybody's wearing sleeves all the way down, then of course on the sleeve. All you need to do is tap once, and they'll calm down. Talk to them, compliment how they look, compliment their outfit, compliment their clothing, compliment their success as a human. And the opposite, if I'm the extrovert and I need to compliment an introvert, compliment their brain, their success, their career. This way, both of you feel comfortable. Now, when it comes to why this is important, because we interact with people all the time. And the secret here for the best rapport and the best outcomes, whether conversation or deals or contracts or anything, even a family conversation, people like people who are like themselves. So when you start understanding, and I'm going to share way more information because this is too deep of a topic to just, dip our toes in. But when we have interactions, just because they're different than us doesn't make them wrong. If I'm an introvert and I'm dealing with an extrovert and the extrovert feels comfortable with me, then they're going to be really extroverted, which is sometimes going to make me feel uncomfortable. But the trick is this: let them be them, and you get to be you. If I'm extroverted and one of my best friends is an introvert and he or she is just quiet, having them sing in karaoke is never going to happen. So don't expect it. So come from a space where you go, okay, I love singing karaoke because I'm a high extrovert and I love the attention, even if I'm off key. But you as my friend, my introvert friend, I'm fine. We enjoy our time together, and that's good. Understanding the behavior behind the scenes and the reason we behave the way we do is going to give you more tools to have the calmness and the peace and the understanding that yes, you are in control and yes, you are accepting. Now, there are some people, I just want to give you this at the end. There are some people who, as an introvert, need to bump up their career. But to bump up their career, they need to do presentations. And they need to have a stint in sales, because otherwise they won't make it to CEO. We have different values. So the extrovert, 4 values. The extrovert has, number 1, sex, hobbies, family, 4th, career. Introverts, career, hobbies, friends, sex. They're opposite, right? So when you think about it, if an introvert needs to move forward, they will do everything in their power because career is number 1. They will twist themselves into a pretzel. They will take sales. They will become extroverted for as long as they need to achieve their introverted goals. They put on what we call a defense. So they will exteriorly look extroverted when interiorly the engine is the introvert, and the introvert is going, I will achieve, I will achieve, I will achieve. And if this is what I need to do to achieve, I will do it. The other side, if you have an extrovert who is, technically we call them shut down extroverts. They're timid, They still wear the oranges, the brights, the pinks, the fuchsias, but they're withdrawn. They're succinct in their conversations. They're conflicted. You can feel that something's wrong. Usually what has happened is that they used to be extroverted. They used to love being extroverted, but they overdid it. And they were warned, and then there was a situation where they got burned. So they recoiled all the way back to being an introvert. But that also is temporary, because then once they get comfortable, because remember, when they were warned and when they got burned, what happened? They were reprimanded, which means they were rejected, which is their worst fear come true. So as we do this, I'm going to keep giving you tidbits because I want you to start understanding, who am I? How do I function? Am I really this? Is this a defense? Is this really me? Am I in alignment? Is my true personality where I'm functioning from? So if you have questions, and I know you will on this one, reach out. thehypnoladyshow.com, find Contact Maureen, send me messages, send me contacts, send me questions, queries, whatever you want, suggestions for topics. And who knows, maybe your suggestion will become the next show. So, as always, remember, keep shining brightly and continue to be blessed. See you soon. Bye-bye. It's been great having you with me. If you're interested in getting daily updates, just subscribe to this podcast, in which case it will pop up every single day for you to listen to. If you'd like me to bring up a certain topic or answer specific questions, reach out to me at thehypnoladyshow.com. Find Contact Maureen and send it over. Thank you for joining me. I really, truly appreciate you. If you enjoyed what's been shared today, feel free to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. That's it for me. I'm looking forward to talking with you tomorrow, but for now, shine at your brightest and continue to be blessed.